This is Sophie. Sophie experiences a disability. We are going to look at two different life experiences that Sophie may encounter depending on the environment surrounding her. One that looks at an environment where she is given opportunities to develop strong natural relationships, and another where she has minimal community interaction, limiting her chance for social inclusion. Let's have a look at one of the previously mentioned scenarios. From when Sophie was born, she was always kept at home with only her mother and father because her parents believed it was the best option for their child. Sophie was therefore never given the opportunity to interact and be included with other children. When Sophie got to schooling age, her parents decided to send her to a special educational needs school. Although the school had a supportive environment, she was excluded from the wider community because Sophie was only able to interact with other children experiencing a disability, rather than learning interaction skills with the children without a disability as well, placing Sophie in a bubble away from the entire society. Sophie's parents enrolled her into one-on-one swimming lessons and into a disability-specific basketball team. She was therefore deprived from playing and making relationships with other kids in the wider community. Although Sophie formed some relationships with the kids on the basketball team, she yet again experienced social exclusion from the entire society. Due to Sophie's upbringing and the barriers within the environment, she had limited job opportunities and could only attain a job at the local salvos folding clothes. Many people with disability experience troubles trying to find a meaningful job, let alone a job itself. The Australian Bureau of Statistics found that 53% of people with a disability are working, compared to the 83% of those without a disability. Reduced job opportunities can result in limited money and savings, which may not allow someone to rent or buy their own house. Sophie may end up having to live in a government-funded group home or institution, where she may not have the chance to personalise her own home. Without personalisation, Sophie is a victim of wounding and loses the opportunity to portray her own identity and feel a sense of belonging and security. Let's look at an alternative upbringing for Sophie. From a young age, Sophie's parents knew the importance of developing social skills and enrolled her into a local daycare 1 day a week. Sophie made friendships, learnt how to share, developed routines, and was educated on the importance of manners and respect. These skills were further developed when she commenced school at a local mainstream school. She was able to make new relationships and strengthen those previously formed relationships with the children she attended daycare with. Allowing Sophie to attend a mainstream school enabled her to become more confident by removing the possibility of carrying around stigma attached to going to a special school. Not only is this beneficial for Sophie in interacting with kids who didn't have a disability, it also educated these kids themselves that disability is within the norm, avoiding the stereotype of us versus them. Sophie got to join local sporting teams with her friends, where she became a part of a growing network of relationships, including people with and without a disability. As Wolfensberger mentions, the more social roles and relationships a person has, the more opportunities they have to be accepted in society. Not only is social interaction benefiting Sophie, it is again also benefiting her peers, as they are learning that including those experiencing disability in their everyday lives is the norm. The social skills Sophie learnt over her life enabled her to be better prepared for job seeking and taught her to strive for whatever job she wanted. She was therefore able to avoid Wolfensberger's wounds, as she had several valued roles enabling her for social inclusion. Securing a meaningful job also promotes mental health and well-being and allows Sophie to develop new relationships with people who share the same interests as her. Having a job may mean that Sophie is able to rent or buy her own house and therefore be free to personalise it. Sophie is able to feel safe, have privacy, and have a place with a sense of belonging. As we have seen, the environment and early life choices can be detrimental on Sophie's opportunities later in life. It is important to remember that by allowing Sophie to interact with the wider society and not just a separate bubble, she is able to gain confidence and develop a wider range of natural relationships in order to live a happier and more fulfilling life. It is also important for the children and adults without a disability to understand that playing sports and being at school with children with a disability is the norm. This will avoid the stigma of us versus them, and therefore avoid social exclusion and wounding for those who do experience a disability themselves.